Hey guys, so I wanted to do a follow-up video concerning some 3D prints I did just before I went on vacation. And it's not quite been a month, but getting pretty close to it since we left. But we'll get into each of the prints and how long they've been and everything. There were three specific prints I wanted to do before I left, and I got all of them done. First one was I wanted to do a strain relief for the garden hose. This is what we normally would fit up in a little plastic holder on the side of the unit, and I wanted something that would make sure that something that didn't yank it off, didn't break the plastic housing on it. So I came up with this unit, and what it was, this one connected to the side of the trailer, this would fit in, and then you screw this into the water inlet. This worked perfectly fine. This was printed in PLA. I actually did this probably like 2 months ago or so, and this was stuck to the side of the unit the whole time. Didn't have any problems with it until I got to Grand Junction, Colorado, and it had sat there for maybe about a week and a half. And then it wasn't the print that failed, it was actually the adhesive strips. As you'll see in the video that I did, I'll put a link to it up here, I'd use command strips. Well, I learned very quickly they don't hold the weight, especially when you have direct sunlight on it and it's like 98 degrees almost every single day. So that was my mistake there. I did make this where I could screw it directly to the unit through the screw holes, but I didn't want to do that, so I used the adhesive strips. I will probably get some of that 3M automotive adhesive strips, put on that, and that should fix that problem. But I'm going to actually redo the 3D print, and I'll show you why. This was the piece that fit into it. As you can see, it's not straight anymore. And that's because the heat, the PLA, the pressure of the water hose pushing against it, it started to bend it. And if you look really close, a little bit of delamination, not horrible, it's not to the point of failure, but it was enough where I just went ahead, and when this came off, I didn't just put it back on the trailer. I just figure I'll reprint everything in PETG and then try it again. I think with PETG, I think it'll be just fine. But that's definitely the one thing I do want to reprint, but it wasn't necessarily because of a failure, it's because I just want something more durable. So, once again, it worked, but I've got to take and reattach it, reprint it. It'll be something I'll do later on. I've got time. Next thing is I wanted something for my cell phone charger. This is one of those that you pick up at Walmart. It's got where it pinches in, it holds your cell phone, but it also has the wireless charging capability. So it's actually a pretty cool deal that way. It attaches to the vent in your vehicle. Well, the problem was the attachment that came with this would not fit into the Toyota Tundra, the 2008, because the vent itself is actually too narrow for it to fit into it. So that didn't work out. Every time I tried to put it on there, it wouldn't fit all the way and it would just fall off. So my workaround before was to open the ashtray, take the part that came with it, kind of wedge it in the ashtray, and have it down there. It worked perfectly fine. The only thing is that after you drive a little bit, it wobbles a little bit, it falls off. So I decided to 3D print. Actually, I designed this one, 3D printed it, worked perfectly fine. We actually made it to 190 miles before we got back home, and all of a sudden it went. Now the whole time we were in Colorado, I would go out, we go do something, we'd come back, it would be 98 degrees outside, so I'm sure, this is Fahrenheit by the way, I'm not sure what the temperature was inside, but I've heard it can get as high as like 140, 160 degrees inside of a vehicle, and it was nothing to find this bowed down. This part would actually be bent down where it was facing downward, the whole thing would be. So I would take the little thumb screw out, turn it over, flip that thing around, and so it'd be up like this. And I did that 3 times while I was back there. And finally, as you can see, it warped. This would be bowed down, and so if I flip it back over, it would be up that way. it was kind of funny at the time. I don't know if I took any pictures. If I did, we'll pop them up now. If not, then it was pretty bad. But at the same time, it worked. Every time we turned the air conditioner on, it'd be just fine. As you can see, the contact point that it had between it and the ball that was actually printed with it was the failure point, because there's not a whole lot of material holding it there. I will redesign that, add a little bit more of a contact patch to it, and I don't think that'll be an issue going forward, especially after I print it in PETG, because PLA just will not hold up inside the vehicle. So there's one thing I want to take you outside and show you. I don't know how it's going to sound and everything. Calvin's here, he's going to help me film it. But there's that tube that we put underneath the bumper. Now, this was kind of it was a last minute print. This was something that I was going to buy something online to fix it, and then found out last minute it was going to be too small and it was going to take too long to get here, and it cost like 90 bucks to buy it. So, got with Calvin, got with my brother. He happened to have a piece of 6-inch PVC pipe. We threw this thing together, and once again I'll put a link to it up in the video description. Calvin designed the pieces for it. We printed it in TPU, and I could not ask for a better solution. This thing actually turned out really good. It lasted the entire time. I even stopped past Utah, went and saw my friend Joe, the 3D printing professor, and he was actually kind of surprised at how it turned out. It was kind of a nice setup. Nobody even asked us about it, because nobody could tell that there was anything different about it. It just looked like it was part of the bumper. But let's go out there and take a look at it and see how it held up, and hopefully you can hear me out there. So it's been about 2 weeks since we got back from Colorado. We traveled over 2,000 miles with the trailer. We traveled through Baker, California, through Mojave, all of that. That was about 102, 104 degrees as we went through there. We spent the night in Las Vegas, and for the 2 weeks we were in Colorado, it was direct sunlight on the back of this almost the whole day, the way it was parked. And as you can see, it has not destroyed it at all. This is for just a kind of a concept, and then going straight to just printing it in TPU. I think it did an awesome job. The caps have held up great. There's no delamination whatsoever. I mean, I could not have asked for something that held up better. You see the cobwebs, the dirt, it looks factory to me. It was just amazing how this actually held up. And I mean, you can see a little bit of a bow because of the way it is and everything, but I don't see any problem with it right now. Now, once again, this is now over a month old. This print is, and I see no problems at all. Well, of course, we're going to keep doing updates later on. You know, we'll look at it again in 6 months. We'll look at it again next year. But so far, the TPU is holding up outside just fine. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.